Hey guys, today's video is all about how to set up your camper awning and some tips and tricks that we've learned over the years to help you avoid some of the same mistakes we've made. To help us out today, we've got Shelley from Shelley's Vintage Camper Awnings coming over to talk to us. Her work has been previously featured on this channel, and her Facebook is down in the description below, so be sure to go give her a follow and a like after this video is over. Lastly, we want to know what you guys are interested in seeing if we make more of these how-to videos, so leave a comment down below of ideas you guys may have or things you're interested in seeing. That said, let's head on over and get this awning set up.
Hi everybody, I'm Shelley with Shelley's Vintage Camper Awnings, and today I'm going to show you some of the key components of setting up an awning successfully so that you can keep it up during a rainstorm as long as there's not a whole lot of wind. And I'm going to show you about stake placement. I'm going to show you about how many ropes you need and the different kinds of stakes that you can use in the construction of your awning. Okay, so the awning that is attached to my camper is a 9x9 awning, and you'll notice that there are 3 poles along the front, and there are 5 sets of ropes and 5 stakes. So those are absolutely essential in order to get the awning top tight enough so that it'll shed water in the event of rain. Anytime that you're in a bad weather situation, if there are high winds, it's very important that you take your awning down. Most awnings are not completely waterproof, and wind can damage both your awning and your camper, so it's really important that you take it down, because even in a water resistant situation on your awnings, they can hold enough water to create damage and even rip your awning because it's not coming through the awning, it's just holding it. So that's very, very important in bad weather. It's important that you have the right kind of stake to match the kind of ground that you're trying to set up your awning in. So you may be at the beach and it's very sandy, and for that type of terrain you need a very large spiral stake. It looks like a dog tie out, and you can get those at Home Depot really inexpensively. There's also an auger type stake. It's plastic and it's got an auger at the end, also good for sand, but generally for softer grassy areas. And then there's your all-purpose stake that looks like a railroad spike with a plastic end. Usually bright orange is my favorite because it's easier for me to find it in the grass at the end of the time when I'm tearing down, and I'm not as likely to step over it or to lose it. The other thing that I need in my toolkit for setting up my awning is a hammer. I can either use a dead blow hammer, a mallet, or a claw hammer. Sometimes the claw hammer comes in really handy when I'm trying to get the stakes out of the ground. Next thing to consider are your poles and your ropes. I use a minimum of 3 poles whenever I'm setting up, because I always like to pitch my tent in the center to allow for water to shed off. Whether it's dew or rain or any kind of moisture, I want it to just roll off the top of my awning. So I almost always pitch. I use 550 cord parachute rope to do all of my tie outs. It's got a really high tensile strength, and I use a series of knots for setting it up and tensioning it, which tends to be a lot tighter than any of the plastic tensioners that you buy or find on the vintage awning sites. The very first knot that I use is the slip knot, and it's done really pretty simply. I make a loop and then pull it through. The importance is that the tail end is what's moving. And this is the knot that's going to go over the spike on your tent pole that's going to lead you to the ground. So you're going to put that over the spike like so, and then you're going to pull it tight. And so that is your slip knot. I'm going to do that one more time for you. I'm going to undo it. Very simple. And pull through. The next knot that we're going to use while tensioning is simply a loop. And so I simply take the length of my rope and I go over both fingers and through to create a loop. And that loop is what I'm going to use to be able to tension my ropes against my stakes in order to pull my awning taut. Okay, with my loop in the line and the end of the rope around the stake, I now bring the loose end of the rope up through the loop where I now bring it down in order to tension it. And you can see how that starts pulling the rope and creating tension. Then I pinch the knot here and I create a number 4. Do you see it, the number 4? Then I pull that loop through and I create a half hitch. And that secures the knot and it holds it tight. And then I may do a couple more just for good measure or just to tighten up my rope so that it's not hanging there, because I like things to look very neat. Series of half hitches, and that's going to hold it very, very tight.
Jumping in here to add one extra tip: when you're tying your half hitch initially, don't pull the rope all the way through. This is because as you go around your awning, you're going to have to retension some of the lines. You'll see this later in the video. This is just going to save you some time of untying the knot, and you can retie it and pull it all the way through once you've got it set.
Every awning that I make has at least 7 grommets. There's one in each corner and then midway along each of the 3 sides. I do this because it is really important to be able to secure the awning on the camper side, because the awning will slide in the rail if it's not secured properly. So if you notice on mine, you see the rope coming down right in front of the camper, and I have it staked out on both sides so that when I'm completing the setup of my awning, it's not sliding one way or the other in that rail as I'm tensioning it. Then you'll notice that I have 2 stakes and 2 ropes on each corner, and then 1 in the center, and that way I can get the most tension from both directions, getting the awning as tight as I possibly can. Once I have my awning in the rail, I take my poles and I lay them out perpendicular to the camper to give me an idea of where my stakes are going to go. So I line that up with the awning, and then I take about 3 paces away from my awning and I put my first stake into the ground. When I place the stake into the ground, I place it at an angle away from the awning so that the tension is pulling on the stake in a manner that's going to keep it from pulling out of the ground, because the ground's going to help secure it. So one of the things that I do is, as I have placed my stakes into the ground, I set my ropes next to each stake before I even think about raising the awning, because I want to make sure that my ropes are in place with no knots and no tangles, so that when I reach for them to attach them to my pole, I don't have anything slowing me down, and it makes it go very much faster. Okay, so this awning is my latest product development, and this has removable valances. So the valances is the hangy downy thingy, and they're attached with a hook and loop fastener that you can simply pull off and replace it to change your decor for the holiday or a special occasion, or because you've changed the decor inside of your camper, or just because. And once we removed the valance, you can see some of the other features here. This is a D-ring that we can use to hang shade walls or to hang lights from inside of the awning. And these D-rings go all the way around on all 4 sides. They're spaced 12 inches apart, and they are becoming pretty standard on almost every awning that I sell.
And tell me, so you were saying earlier, you do 2 ropes off the corner to help make sure it's sturdy, but even when you're doing the side,
when I do my sidewalls, I can attach my sidewalls with clips to the ropes to give myself a little bit more space underneath, and to help give a little bit more shade protection. And protection from the rain if I'm keeping it up during the rain.
Oh yeah.
So we have extra grommets on the midway point on the side of each of the awnings. These come in really handy when you're camping at the beach because there's always a lot of wind when you're camping at the beach. So I put up another set of poles and ropes in order to stake it down to keep it from flapping, because it's the flapping and the wind that damages both your awning and your camper. So the more attachment points that you have, the more secure your awning can be.
All right, so what are some, we've got this all set up and it's really awesome. You said as far as making sure it's tension and everything, let's go into that a little bit more. What's something that can make your camping trip go from a good trip to worse really fast?
Well, it is always bad when your door hits your awning. And so if you don't have it properly tensioned, when you open the door, your sagging awning drags on usually the tip of your door and can tear it. And that makes it go from good to bad.
Kind of defeats the purpose of the awning at that point.
Absolutely.
Right above your door.
Absolutely.
So we actually don't have it installed on this camper yet. So Ethan, if you're watching this, we haven't told you, but the next time we come back to the lot with this camper, we're going to install this roller ball on the top corner of the door. So if we got going pretty quick and setting the awning up and forgot to tension it just right, it helps protect it from actually tearing. It rolls right across the corner. This is what, about
less than $10.
Yeah, so it's very easy to get. Check out on Amazon. Probably could find it on eBay or
Camping World.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have a link down in the description that you can find one of these. We're not making any money off of this, so go ahead and look this up and be sure to add it to your doors to save your awnings, whether you get them from us or not.
Absolutely.
So that's it. It takes about 14 to 17 minutes to set up. That's perfect time to have started your air or heat before and have a cozy camper once you finish. That said, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and find our social media in the description. Head over to Shelley's page, give it a like. Head over to our page, let us know if you have a dream that we can make reality for you guys. Have a great weekend and stay safe out there.